So chemistry is not an enemy. The carbon is not an enemy. So we are here actually to reimagine the way we do polymers.
I wanted to start by asking you, what does regenerative mean to you?
To me personally, well, as a kid, I grew up in a beautiful country called Morocco. And my grandmother, who raised me, taught me that we didn't have a luxury to waste. So we started at home, right? So I grew up very greedy with natural resources. And I'm a businesswoman today and leading a Solvay company, 10 billion euro company. We're just greedy with natural resources. And think about it, if you reuse waste, it's not a waste anymore. So that's what it means, is all what we heard about it today from the panel is how we can actually rethink the way we produce chemistry, we produce our molecule, our products, our solutions.
So, you sound quite excited about that opportunity when you talk about it. How do you go about creating the context for that in a business at the scale of Solvay?
Well, it's not easy because, we have been educated to think linear, right? When I was a chemist, I started, 25 years ago doing my chemistry thesis. We were not taught to think about, the reuse of the material. We were thinking about the end of life. Now you need to move from the end of life to the end of usage, and the first users, the second users, like your shirts, you will reuse it today. You're not going to throw it to the bin. And I think that's a shift. That's a shift from academia, from really, our researchers need to think differently, use different products from biomasses, from reusing the waste. So at Solvay, for example, and I'm going to give you only one example because its twist is my preferred one, we are the first producer of natural vanillin. We use rice husk, which is a bran, which is a waste. We collect that waste, we extract ferulic acid, we bioferment it, and it's produced natural vanillin, which goes to your birthday cakes and sweets. And now, since now 3 years in the job, it's not an anecdote anymore. Basically, all the fragrances, the food and beverage companies, leading FMCG companies, are moving to use these circular products, and it makes sense for the planet, but also it's profitable.
And you're saying that's at scale across your organization. Now, I studied English literature at university.
That's
so
fine.
It's
Not
like a kind of
Celine
social
Dion,
experiment,
right?
having us up on stage together. Sometimes when people hear chemistry, it can sound really exciting, the way that you just described it, right? Like, we're creating stuff. Sometimes it can sound like chemicals. How do you communicate the positive regenerative benefits that you think chemistry can provide?
Chemistry is not a bad word. And actually, when I joined the company and I moved from the US to Europe, I was actually shocked that, chemistry was seen as a part of the problem. Actually, chemistry is the mother of all industries. We are here, we are in Oriumac, connectivity. Without chemistry, there is no EV battery, there is no hybrid, there is no connectivity, there is no green hydrogen. Chemistry is the mother of all industries. So we are agnostic to technology, and the carbon is not the enemy. We are just a cook. We like to take elements from the Mendeleev table, we put them as Legos, we produce molecules, and then we use them. And now we just need to think to do them differently. So chemistry is not an enemy. The carbon is not an enemy. So we are here actually to reimagine the way we do polymers, not only, again, by design, from their birth in the lab, and think about their end of life and end of use and start thinking. So, for example, to give you an example, and I think it was said today, a battery at the end of life is full of precious metals. Today it's burned or put in the landfill. It's still cheaper to put in the landfill than to recycle. Well, today we have pilots which are going to ensure that this battery at the end of life, we're going to extract the precious metal and re-inject them in the value chain, be it automotive or other value chains.
I liked the way you described it as like, what are we going to cook with? Because to some degree what we've been hearing today is that we need a shift in mindset and we need to reorientate towards a new goal. So what are we trying to cook? And you have to communicate that desired transformation in your organization. How do you promote this to the key stakeholders in your organization? For instance, the most skeptical of your shareholders.
Well, I think, first of all is the tone at the top. I mean, home is burning and this is our planet. So we need to regenerate our climate, the nature, right? So as a company, we are committed now to, for example, we aligned with the Paris Accords, which is going to cost us 2 billion euro for a company of 10 billion euro, right, between now and 2050. So it's huge investments. And I think we are just bold and we think, and I believe that the companies who are not going to engage into circularity, into decarbonization of the industry are not going to last and not going to stay relevant, right? So, but we cannot do it alone. And we need key stakeholders. We need the policies, we talked about it. Our employees are demanding. Actually, our shareholders, and you had BlackRock on stage, are requesting more and more of this. But definitely, we need to create this ecosystem